Welcome back to our channel, World Coins History. As you knew that old is gold, but these rare Lincoln penny coins that are most valuable than you think, don't spend one of them, so please watch complete video and find your treasure. Let's start this. Top 1. Today we're going on a journey through history and tiny change, all with a small copper disc. I want you to picture this, 2009, the 200th birthday of Abraham Lincoln, and to mark that milestone, the US Mint did something special. They released a new penny that didn't look like the pennies you see every day. On the back, instead of the usual image, there's a humble log cabin, symbolizing Lincoln's birthplace and his early childhood in Kentucky. They call it the birth and early childhood penny, or the log cabin penny. On the front you still see Lincoln's profile, the same portrait that has graced pennies for over a century. But the back shows that cabin, along with the words United States of America, 1 cent, e pluribus unum, and the date 1809, the year Lincoln was born. That little cabin is more than wood and sunshine. It is a tribute to the humblest beginnings of a man who would go on to change history. Imagine holding that coin in your hand. In 1809, Abraham Lincoln was born in a simple wooden cabin, somewhere in rural Kentucky. The 2009 log cabin penny invites you to hold that past, a tangible reminder that greatness sometimes grows from humble roots. And because this design was part of a special bicentennial series, the pennies are a little more than just change. But let's be real, most of these pennies went into circulation. That means if you find one in your change, likely it has been handled, passed around, dipped into tills, maybe sat in a jar. In that case, it's still just a 1-cent coin. But for collectors, there are a few things that make some of these coins worth far more than their face value. First, condition. If a penny has never been circulated, still has all its original luster, crisp details, original mint finish, that makes a difference. Then there are special mint strikes, satin finish or proof coins made in copper rather than the common modern zinc center pennies. Those copper strikes often interest collectors more. Even small errors or die varieties can add value. On some log cabin pennies collectors have spotted doubling, especially in the logs of the cabin or in lettering and date, die cracks, off-center strikes, or other imperfections caused during minting. If you examine a coin under magnification and see, for example, doubled log lines, extra bold edges, or misstrikes, that coin shifts from being just a penny to a potential collector find. Of course, rarity matters too. Although many millions of 2009 log cabin pennies were minted, both in Philadelphia and Denver, the special copper-finished proofs or uncirculated coins in top condition are far fewer. That, combined with demand from collectors who like to build complete 2009 sets, all 4 designs commemorating Lincoln's life, give some coins extra appeal. For a coin lover, there's something poetic about keeping one of these pennies, a tiny slice of American history, a tribute to a boy from a log cabin who rose to lead a nation. It's not about the metal, it's about the story. And when you hold a well-preserved log cabin 2009 penny, you hold a memory, humble beginnings, transformation, legacy. If you're watching this and you have a 2009 penny, dust it off and take a closer look. Maybe clean it carefully, handle it by the edges, use a magnifier or loop, and see if what seems ordinary might just be extraordinary. If you enjoyed this dive into coin history and hidden value, smash that subscribe button, hit like, and ring the bell so you don't miss more of these coin stories, rare finds, and hidden gems. I promise, there's a whole world in small change. Real market value for most common 2009 log cabin pennies that have circulated stays at face value, 1 cent. But uncirculated examples, or those with special mint finish or proof strikes, often sell to collectors for roughly $1 or a few dollars. If the coin is top condition, shows a rare error or die variety, its auction or collector value can climb significantly higher, depending on condition, rarity, and collector demand. Top 2, we're going way back, to 1970, and digging into a humble little coin that might be hiding some serious history and hidden value. I'm talking about the 1970 Lincoln penny. You might have held one in your hand, maybe tossed it in a jar, or found one in your change, but what if that tiny penny is actually worth more than you think? Stick around, because this could get interesting. The 1970 Lincoln penny still carries the familiar profile of Abraham Lincoln on the front. It's a copper penny, 95% copper, part of the long-running Lincoln cent series. In 1970, billions of these pennies were minted across different mints: Philadelphia, no mint mark, Denver, D, and San Francisco, S. Given that huge production number, most 1970 pennies are common everyday change. So what makes some of them special? The answer lies in condition, variety, and rare minting quirks. For a regular circulated 1970 penny, scuffed, worn, passed around, it's probably worth only a few cents. Maybe worth holding onto as a keepsake, but not much more than face value. But if you find a 1970 penny that's uncirculated, crisp edges, sharp detail, original red copper luster, that's where collectors start to pay attention. And when that condition combines with certain varieties from 1970, the penny suddenly becomes far more interesting. One key variation to watch for is coins minted at the San Francisco Mint, especially the ones with the small date variety. These are less common than standard versions, and collectors prize them more. On top of that, there are error pennies, mistakes like double die obverse, where lettering or date appears doubled, off-center strikes, or odd planchet errors. These imperfections, rare as they are, may turn a simple penny into a collector's treasure. Imagine this scenario: you pick up a 1970 penny, it's uncirculated, bright red, with a clear small date, and maybe a faint hint of doubling on the inscriptions: Liberty, In God We Trust, or the date itself. Under magnification, those tiny anomalies reveal themselves. That coin might be exactly the kind that serious collectors hunt for. Holding one of those pennies is like holding a piece of history. It's more than just metal, it's a little time capsule from 1970 America. Whether you're a seasoned coin hunter or just curious, that penny could hold a story worth telling. So if you find a 1970 penny, don't toss it aside. Examine it carefully, check its date and mint mark, note its color and condition. With a bit of luck, and a good eye, you could be holding something special. If you like these coin stories, rare finds and hidden values, hit subscribe, smash that like button, and ring the bell. I promise there are many more treasures waiting for us in old coins and forgotten change. Here's what 1970 pennies are worth in real market terms. Average circulated coins typically sell for just a few cents to maybe half a dollar. But for uncirculated, high-grade specimens, especially rare varieties or error coins, values can climb to several dollars to tens of dollars, depending on condition and demand. In extraordinary cases, rare error or rare variety, coins have fetched hundreds or more among dedicated collectors. Top 3, we're diving into a coin that almost every American has touched at some point, yet very few people know the secrets hiding inside it. I'm talking about the 1977 United States Lincoln penny, a little copper coin with a big story, and possibly bigger value than you ever imagined. So sit tight, because this 1-cent piece might make you look at your change in a whole new way. Picture this: it's 1977. Star Wars just hit theaters. Elvis Presley plays his final concerts. Gas costs pennies compared to today. And from minting machines across America pours the Lincoln penny, a coin that seems ordinary, but decades later would become a favorite of collectors and error hunters everywhere. On the obverse you've got Abraham Lincoln's familiar profile, crisp and bold when freshly struck. On the reverse sits the Lincoln Memorial, standing tall with sharp columns and tiny details that look stunning under magnification. These pennies were made of nearly pure copper, which already makes them special, because this was before the switch to cheaper zinc coins in the 1980s. But here's where things get interesting: not all 1977 pennies are created equal. A regular circulated one is just a common coin. But the rare ones? The odd ones? The ones that slipped through the mint with tiny mistakes? Those are the ones collectors go crazy for. Some 1977 pennies show doubling on the letters in Liberty or on the numbers of the date, subtle but valuable. Others have off-center strikes, where the design shifts away from the middle, creating a dramatic, eye-catching error. There are also die cracks, filled die letters that appear weak or missing, and coins struck on slightly wrong planchets. Any one of these errors can transform a simple penny into something far more exciting, and then, of course, we have condition. A 1977 penny that stayed bright red, never circulated, never scratched, kept in near-perfect shape, that's the kind of coin collectors love. And if it's graded at the top levels, it can be worth much more than you'd expect. The story behind these pennies makes them irresistible to collectors. It's not just metal, it's a preserved moment in American history. When you hold a clean, uncirculated 1977 penny, it feels like time travel. You're holding a piece of the past that survived perfectly all the way to your hands. So before you toss that penny into a tip jar or let it roll to the bottom of your drawer, take a closer look. Check the date. Check the mint mark. Look for errors. Look for that original copper shine. You never know, you might be holding something rare. If you're enjoying these coin stories and love hunting for treasure in your pocket change, make sure to hit like, subscribe, and tap that bell so you don't miss future videos. More hidden gems are coming your way. Here are the real market values. Typical circulated 1977 pennies are generally worth only their basic copper value, a few cents. A clean uncirculated example can be worth several dollars depending on its condition. Rare errors and high-grade pieces can reach auction prices in the range of tens of dollars, and exceptionally rare or dramatic errors can bring in even higher amounts among dedicated collectors. Top 4. We're stepping into the world of a small copper treasure that has traveled more than 6 decades through pockets, drawers, and forgotten jars. It's the 1961 United States Lincoln penny, a coin that looks simple, but hides secrets that only careful eyes can uncover. If you're a coin collector, or you simply love discovering value where you least expect it, then listen closely, because the 1961 penny has a story worth your time. Let's rewind to the year 1961. America was changing fast. John F. Kennedy delivered his iconic message asking what we could do for our country. Cars were huge, music was exploding into a new era, and the American dream felt alive. Through all of this, the mint was striking the copper Lincoln penny, a coin made of 95% copper, a metal that carries warmth, shine, and enduring appeal. These pennies weren't just currency, they were little copper witnesses to history. On the front, we see the classic portrait of Abraham Lincoln, strong profile, sharp jawline, clean details when the strike is good. On the reverse, the Lincoln Memorial stands tall, each column precise and structured. And right there in the middle, a tiny, tiny statue of Lincoln himself, a detail so small that most people don't even know it exists unless they look through a magnifier. Billions of these coins were produced in 1961, both in Philadelphia with no mint mark and in Denver with the D mint mark. With so many made, most people assume they're all common. And yes, a typical circulated penny from 1961 is usually worth only a few cents. But here's where it gets interesting, because hidden in this massive production run are rare mistakes and subtle varieties that make some coins much more desirable, and much more valuable. Collectors especially hunt for double dies. Imagine the date 1961, the word liberty, or the phrase "in God we trust" appearing slightly doubled. This isn't damage, it's a minting anomaly that happened when the die itself shifted during creation. These doubling varieties are rare and can turn a simple penny into a collector's prize. Then there are off-center strikes. These occur when the coin blank isn't perfectly aligned during striking. A 5% or 10% shift looks cool, but a dramatic 20 to 50% off-center strike, especially if the date is still visible, becomes something collectors absolutely love. Coins with repunched mint marks are another special find. In those days, mint marks were added by hand, and sometimes they were punched more than once, leaving a shadow effect. You might also find die cracks, raised lines of metal on the coin caused by a cracked die. Some cracks are tiny, others stretch across the coin like lightning. The more dramatic, the more collectible. And let's not forget planchet errors, coins struck on slightly wrong metal blanks or on blanks with metal impurities. Each error tells its own strange little story. The condition of the coin matters too. A brilliant red uncirculated 1961 penny, one that has never seen a pocket, never seen a wallet, never rubbed against another coin, can glow with fiery copper color. Collectors prize that original red luster because copper darkens over time. So when a 1961 penny still shines like the day it was minted, that alone gives it serious appeal. Think about it, this coin has survived the Cold War, the rise of the internet, the moon landing, generations of change, and now it sits in your hand, waiting for you to notice it. That's the magic of coin collecting. Every penny from 1961 carries a history, a journey, and maybe even a hidden rarity. So the next time you see a 1961 penny, don't ignore it. Hold it up to the light. Check the mint mark. Look for doubling. Look for cracks. Look for mistakes. You never know when an ordinary penny might turn into something extraordinary. If you love videos like this, rare coins, hidden treasures, amazing discoveries in everyday life, make sure you hit like, subscribe, and tap that bell so you never miss another coin adventure. We have plenty more treasures waiting for you. Now for the real market values. A regular circulated 1961 penny is normally worth only a few cents. A clean, bright, uncirculated example can be worth several dollars depending on condition and color. Rare varieties, double dies, strong errors, and top-graded pieces can reach auction values in the range of tens of dollars, and exceptionally rare or dramatic errors can go much higher among serious collectors. Top 5, we're digging into a small copper treasure that most people ignore, but coin collectors know it still holds surprises. The 1978 United States Lincoln penny, a simple 1-cent coin that has traveled through nearly half a century of American life. And yet, some special versions of this coin can be worth much more than their face value. So sit back, watch closely, and don't skip a second, because the 1978 penny hides secrets that many collectors never notice. Imagine the year 1978. America is listening to disco, Star Wars toys are flying off shelves, and people are filling their pockets with bright copper pennies, still made from real copper, rich in color and heavy in the hand. The 1978 penny carries Lincoln's classic profile on the front, the one we've all seen, but when the strike is sharp, you can see the details in his coat, his hair, and the edges of the lettering. Flip it over, and the Lincoln Memorial stands proud, with those tiny architectural lines that collectors love to examine under magnification. But here's where things get interesting. Most 1978 pennies are common, billions were minted in Philadelphia and Denver, but inside that huge number, a few rare varieties and minting errors slipped through the cracks. And those are the pennies treasure hunters are always searching for. Some 1978 pennies show doubling on the letters of liberty or on the numbers of the date. This isn't damage, it's a minting variety caused when the die shifted ever so slightly. And collectors absolutely love double die coins. There are also repunched mint marks on some Denver coins, where the D was punched twice by hand, leaving a shadow effect that makes the coin instantly more interesting. Then come the dramatic errors. Off-center strikes are one of the most eye-catching, where the whole design is shifted toward one side, leaving a blank crescent of copper on the other. The more off-center, while still showing the date, the more desirable the coin becomes. You may also find die cracks, where raised lines of metal streak across the surface like tiny lightning bolts. There are even coins struck on defective planchets, with strange textures or missing metal. What really excites collectors is condition. A 1978 penny that stayed bright red all these years, untouched by circulation, glowing like fresh copper fire, that's a beauty worth noticing. Copper darkens naturally over time, so when a 1978 penny still looks brand new, it raises eyebrows. These red and red-brown uncirculated coins can bring strong interest from collectors building high-grade sets. Think about how many hands a penny from 1978 has passed through. From diners to gas stations to lunch counters, through school lockers and office desks. So finding one still in perfect condition feels like discovering a time capsule, a piece of the past preserved against all odds. So before you toss a penny aside, look at the date. Look for errors. Look at the mint mark. If you find a 1978 penny that shines, or one that looks just a little strange, you might be holding something special. If you enjoy these deep dives into rare coins and hidden treasures, make sure you hit like, subscribe, and tap the bell so you never miss another episode. There are many more coins waiting for us to uncover. Real market value for most circulated 1978 pennies is only a few cents. Uncirculated examples can be worth several dollars. Rare double dies, strong errors, off-center strikes, and high-grade pieces can reach auction values in the range of tens of dollars, while exceptional and dramatic errors can climb even higher among serious collectors. Top 6. We're diving into a coin that millions of people have touched, but very few have truly looked at. The 1974 United States Lincoln penny, a small copper coin with a surprisingly big story. And if you're a coin lover, a collector, or someone who enjoys discovering hidden value in everyday change, you'll want to listen closely, because the 1974 penny is full of secrets that most people never notice. Imagine the year 1974. The country is shifting through political change, new styles, and new technology. But even through all that, one thing stayed familiar in everyone's pocket: the Lincoln penny. These coins were still made from real copper, giving them that deep, rich red tone that collectors love. Hold a shiny 1974 penny under light and you'll see that warm glow that newer zinc pennies simply can't match. On the front, Abraham Lincoln's portrait stands proud with crisp lines when the strike is strong. On the reverse, the Lincoln Memorial shows off its tiny pillars and precise architecture. If you look closely, even with the naked eye, you can sometimes spot the faint figure of Lincoln sitting in the memorial, a tiny detail that always impresses collectors. Now here's where things get exciting. Even though billions of 1974 pennies were minted in Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco, not all of them are ordinary. Hidden among these common coins are rare varieties, special mistakes, and striking errors that can turn a 1-cent piece into something worth far more. Collectors especially search for double-die varieties on 1974 pennies. These occur when parts of the design, like Liberty, the date, or the motto, appear slightly doubled because of die misalignment during production. Some doubled features are bold, some are subtle, but all of them add value. You might also come across repunched mint marks on the 1974 D pennies. Back then, mint marks were added by hand, which sometimes led to faint shadows or doubled marks. These small quirks can make a coin much more interesting to collectors, and then come the dramatic errors. Off-center strikes, where the design is shifted to one side, leaving part of the planchet blank. Broad strikes, where the coin was struck without a collar, giving it a wider, flatter shape. Die cracks that look like lightning streaks across the surface. Struck-through errors where foreign material leaves strange impressions on the coin. Each error tells its own story, and some are genuinely rare, and of course, condition matters. A 1974 penny that still shines bright red, never circulated, never scratched or darkened, is a standout piece. Collectors love finding high-grade copper cents because copper naturally darkens over time. So when a coin from 1974 still looks almost brand new, it becomes something special. Think about it, this penny has survived 5 decades of history. Countless hands, countless pockets, countless moments. And still, one coin might hold a rarity you never expected. That's what makes coin collecting exciting. You never know what treasure is hiding in plain sight. So the next time you spot a 1974 penny, don't pass it by. Hold it up to the light. Check the mint mark. Look for doubling, cracks, odd shapes, or beautiful shine. You might be holding more than a penny, you might be holding a hidden gem. If you enjoy these deep dives into rare coins, make sure to subscribe, like the video, and tap the bell so you don't miss the next treasure hunt story. There are so many coins waiting for us to explore together. Here are the real values. Most circulated 1974 pennies are worth only a few cents. Uncirculated examples can be worth several dollars. Strong errors, double die varieties, and high-grade pieces can reach auction values in the range of tens of dollars, and exceptionally dramatic or rare errors can climb even higher among advanced collectors. Top 7, and last rare penny. We're taking a journey back to the year 1976, the year America celebrated its 200th birthday. Flags were everywhere, streets were filled with parades, and people were buzzing with bicentennial excitement. But while the nation celebrated, the United States Mint was quietly striking a little copper coin that many people still overlook today. The 1976 Lincoln penny. It may look ordinary at first glance, but if you listen closely, this coin has a story worth every collector's attention. The penny still carried Lincoln's familiar profile on the front, standing strong and proud just like he always has. These 1976 pennies were made from beautiful copper, rich, heavy, and warm in color. Hold one under a bright light, and you can see that deep shine that only real copper can produce. Flip it over, and you get the bold image of the Lincoln Memorial, every pillar sharp and perfectly lined, and yes, that tiny statue of Lincoln hidden inside the monument that many people never notice. But here's where it gets interesting. Even though millions of these pennies were minted across Philadelphia and Denver, not all of them are the same. Hidden in those massive batches are special coins, rare varieties, and dramatic minting errors that collectors go crazy for. These are the pennies that can turn pocket change into a small treasure. Some 1976 pennies show doubling on the date or on the word Liberty, a subtle but valuable sign that the die shifted during minting. Collectors call these double die varieties, and even the slightest doubling can make the coin far more desirable. There are also repunched mint marks, especially on Denver coins. Back then, mint marks were placed manually, which means some coins ended up with the D stamp twice by accident, leaving a shadow effect, and then come the real showstoppers, the errors. Off-center strikes where part of the coin is blank and the design is pushed to one side. Broad strikes that look wide and flat because the collar didn't hold the coin properly. Die cracks that streak across the coin like tiny bolts of lightning. Struck-through errors where pieces of cloth, grease, or metal shavings left ghostly impressions during minting. These unusual mistakes didn't happen often, but when they did, collectors paid attention. Condition is also everything. A bright red uncirculated 1976 penny, still glowing after almost half a century, is something special. Copper darkens naturally over time, so when a penny from 1976 still shines like it's fresh from the mint, collectors take notice. High-grade coins with that original fiery red color are always in demand. Think about it, this tiny coin has lived through decades of American history. It has passed through gas stations from the 70s, supermarkets from the 80s, pockets from the 90s, and change jars from the 2000s. And yet, some of these pennies survived in perfect condition or with unique errors that make them treasures today. So don't let the date fool you. The next time you find a 1976 penny, take a moment. Check the mint mark. Look for odd markings. Tilt it under a light. Inspect the edges and the letters. Because the coin sitting in your hand might be far more special than a simple 1-cent piece. If you enjoy discovering the hidden stories and hidden values inside everyday coins, make sure to hit like, subscribe, and ring the bell so you never miss another coin hunting adventure. There are so many stories waiting for us. Now for the real values. Most circulated 1976 pennies are worth only a few cents. Bright, uncirculated examples can be worth several dollars. Strong errors, double dies, and high-grade pieces can reach auction values in the range of tens of dollars, and rare dramatic minting errors can bring even higher prices among serious collectors. Thanks for watching, and happy coin hunting.